For me, the most important factor was just to complete my master's in 1.5 years.
You could have got better universities. Why didn't you apply to them?
Absolutely, like in UMBC or like UTD, you would have a lot more probability of getting a RAOT. Appreciate the ApplyBuddy product you have been working on because it has a lot of information about the universities and is completely free.
You might get a reject even if your profile is too good for certain university.
I had a couple of rejects, one from UT Austin and the other one from UNC Charlotte.
What's one biggest regret about choosing SUNY Buffalo? Hi everyone, and welcome to new episode of Your Buddy Nakul. Every year, thousands of students apply for master's program in the US, and choosing the right university can be extremely overwhelming and hard. Today, we are going to talk about three of the most popular universities: University of Texas Dallas, University of Maryland Baltimore, and SUNY Buffalo. Along with that, we will also cover about few more universities. If you are applying for the upcoming semester, then this episode is going to be extremely insightful for you. And to talk about these universities, we have someone with us who got an admit from all of these three universities and chose one over the other. I promise this podcast will be extremely practical and helpful if you are applying for the upcoming semester, because we are in conversation with Yash Joshi. Hi Yash.
Thank you, Nakul, for inviting me, and I'm happy to share my experiences about choosing the university.
Absolutely. And so let's start about discussing your profile first so that students understand what your profile is, and then we can dive into what all universities you applied and which one you got admit for.
Sure, yeah, that sounds good. So I did my bachelor's from Pune University. I graduated in information technology with a GPA of 9.3 on a scale of 10. I was one of the rank holders in my university at that time. After that, in my GRE, I scored, I think it was like 160 and 161 between the verbal and the quant. So like 321 total and 4.5 on the AWA. TOEFL was somewhere around like 110. And I've also worked for 1.5 years with Accenture when I was in India. If we are talking about research, I also have a research paper in a Springer journal. So I worked with my professor for that. So yeah, I think that's the top level of my profile.
Amazing. So a couple of things. You mentioned about a research paper in Springer. So is it like an amazing journal? Like what was like the impact of that paper? Like what would you say about it?
Of the top journals which are like kind of famous in the field of computer science, you have the IEEE, you have Elsevier, you have Springer. These are like the top journals. So irrespective of whether the journal inside their publications is impactful or not, there's some kind of reputation when you have your paper in a journal published by either of the publication houses I mentioned.
For everyone to understand like where Pune University stands, would you classify it as like a tier 2 university or tier 3? Like where does it stand?
I would say it's tier 2, but it's still highly reputed. Like you have people from all over India coming to the university. I won't say it's like up to the level of IITs for sure, but it's surely a reputed university in tier 2.
Let's talk about what universities you apply to, where did you get admits from, and of course the rejects as well if you have any.
Sure. So I applied to, I guess, 5 universities. I got admits from SUNY Buffalo where I did my master's. I also got admit from UMBC and UT Dallas. And I had a couple of rejects, one from UT Austin and the other one from UNC Charlotte.
That's surprising because your profile seems good, and like I know UNC Charlotte, it definitely, like you should have definitely been accepted there. So like what's your like analysis behind getting a reject from UNC Charlotte?
It's kind of funny. Even I'm not sure. So me and a friend of mine, we both applied to the university. Even he had a great profile. And we kind of assumed like UNC Charlotte would be a safe university for us. So it was kind of shocking to get a reject. I think so in US, it's not like just because you get some scores, you will be admitted in the university. During the time when we were applying, it was just the period of like the COVID was ending. So a lot of people were applying. So from the perspective of the university, they might have thought that we are just applying it as a safe university, and since they have a lot of people applying, they don't want to hold a seat for us. Like, they don't want that we will just get accept and then we will decline that accept. So they might have just thought that these people won't attend the university in the first place. This is like a safe university for them, and maybe that might be the reason we were rejected.
Very interesting insight, like a very interesting analysis, and something for the viewers to understand that you might get a reject even if your profile is too good for certain university. So it's not that if your profile is extremely good, you will get acceptance everywhere. And the reason can be, like Yash mentioned, that your profile is so good that the university might feel that you wouldn't come here anyway, you would get an acceptance somewhere better, and you will obviously go there. And so they might just reject you. So do keep this in mind when you apply, especially to extremely safe universities. If I'm not wrong, right? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. So I think in India we are used to the fact that just because you have good scores, you are sure you will get some universities which are below the criteria for that score. But in US it's completely different. So if a university is too safe, they would just assume that you are anyway not gonna attend that university, and they might just reject you.
got it. So going back to the universities you were accepted in, tell me about how did you come to shortlist those universities?
Sure. So the first part of the process was surely to find information about the universities, and it was too tough, to be honest. It's like finding the needle in a haystack, and that's because there's so much information available on the net, but you are not sure which one is trustworthy, and a lot of sources are not even free, right? So that's a really tough task. Well, in that, I really appreciate the ApplyBuddy product you have been working on, because I have tried it, and it has a lot of information about the universities, which is something trustworthy and is completely free. But it wasn't available when I was shortlisting the universities. So I remember me and my friend used to sit on a call, a Teams call or something after work for 2-3 hours every single day. We did it for like 3-4 months just to gather information about the universities to help with our process. And the second part is actually shortlisting the universities, which again is a tough task because, as we just mentioned, universities in India are like quantitative, while the ones in the US are like qualitative basis. So just because you get some scores in some tests doesn't guarantee an admission for you. So yeah, for shortlisting, we had all the information. We tried to take into account multiple factors. And again, something I would like to encourage the viewers that I tried the ApplyBuddy shortlisting algorithm. It takes into account all these multiple factors along with the preferences I have. So that's really good. But for us back then, we just had like an Excel sheet and everything, where we kind of had all this information about the universities. So yeah, that's the process we went into. One thing I'm pretty happy about is we put in the efforts rather than going through a consultancy. And simply because I feel a lot of consultancies just push what's best for them rather than what's good for you. So that's something I'm certainly happy with. And yeah, I'm happy with the process we followed and the universities we shortlisted.
Thank you so much. And what were the factors that you specifically had in your mind when you applied to the university? And to be more elaborative about the question, like there's like weather, there's fees, there's job opportunities, there's this location. And I mean, there are so many things that students consider. So it would really be helpful to the students if you tell about the factors you had in your mind when you shortlisted the universities.
I wanted to do my master's as soon as possible. Usually the master's course is like 2 years at most of the universities. My aim was to complete it in like 1.5 years. And simply because, first of all, I had worked in India, right? So I had done my undergrad and I had worked. Then again, to go for master's, I didn't wanted to put in like 2 more years into that. And second thing is, if you graduated early, you have that 6 months head start compared to your peers. So yeah, for me, the most important factor was actually just to complete my master's in 1.5 years. That was the most important factor. Second might be, of course, cost. It shouldn't be a lot expensive.
That makes sense. I just thought, looking at your profile, understanding it, you could have gotten better universities than what you all applied to. Of course, like UT Austin is an amazing university, but it's very tough to get into. But you could have got better universities. So why didn't you apply to them?
Uh, Nakul, I think in India, people are more obsessed with the tag you have. In the US, people are more interested in what skills you bring to the table. So in US, it doesn't really matter what university you are in. People who are in like decent enough universities, they can still go and work for like one of the top companies and crack that 200 to 50K USD packages. But in India, I feel like it's a lot different. In India, if you are from like an IIT or something, it opens a brand new world of opportunities for you. That's not the same in the US. So for me, that wasn't a big priority for me, because I knew it is irrespective of what university I'm in, if I have the skill sets, I will get a good job. I will progress in my career. So that wasn't a big priority for me. Even I would like to share that a lot of people I know from these top universities are right now searching for jobs, when a lot of people I know from not the top universities have gotten their jobs. So as long as you are in a decent university, like SUNY Buffalo is surely maybe not in the top 10 for sure, but it's surely like a decent enough university. It's a reputed university. So as long as you are in a decent enough university, you should be set for career in the US.
Okay, let's talk about the most important question, which is let's compare all these three universities with their pros and cons. So what we can do is I can give you one factor, like individual factors, and then you rate or you talk about all these three universities, right?
Sure, yeah, sounds good to me.
So let's start with the weather.
Yeah, so in terms of weather, I feel like sunny Buffalo is obviously extreme on the cold side, whereas UT Dallas would be extreme when it comes to the summers. UMBC is something that's in the middle. It's not extreme on either side, but it surely leans more towards the cold side.
Okay, what about the fees?
So Sunny Buffalo and UMBC, I think are around like 20,000 US dollars for the year. UT Dallas, on the other hand, is a bit expensive than the other two. Yeah, I think that's the case.
What about the reputation or the ranking of these three universities?
I think all three are kind of decently ranked. It's neither of the three are like in the top 10, and neither of the three have like a bad reputation. All are decently ranked. So ranking, I don't feel like should be the concern when choosing a university between the three.
Okay, what about the cost of living?
So in terms of cost of living, Sunny Buffalo I feel has one of the cheapest housings in like whole of the US. It's like one of the cheapest. So Buffalo is surely on the cheaper side. UMBC and UT Dallas, I feel like UMBC is more on the expensive side, being in the Maryland. But yeah, compared to the three, Buffalo is surely way cheaper than the other two.
Okay, very important factor. What about the RA and TA opportunities at all these three universities?
Yeah, so in Buffalo, to be honest, there aren't a lot of RAT opportunities. Like there are opportunities, but compared to the number of strength of students, the opportunities are pretty low. I think in UT Dallas you have decent opportunities, and in UMBC you have a lot of opportunities. But the issue in UMBC is if you do take a TA or a RA, you need to do a thesis course, and it's really difficult to complete your masters within that 2 years.
Amazing, like that was very helpful. Tell me about why did you choose Buffalo specifically? Like out of all of these factors, what factors influenced you to choose Sunny Buffalo?
Sure. So as I mentioned at the start, I think that it was important for me that I complete my masters in 1.5 years. So Buffalo was the one which offered the 1.5 years course, and a lot of people mistake it by thinking that if it's 1.5 years course, it has less reputation than a 2 years course. It's nowhere like that. A 1.5 year course at Sunny Buffalo just means that what other universities teach in a span of 2 years, you might just learn that in a span of 1.5 years, and I was ready for that. So yeah, so that was one of my top priority, and the second one being Sunny Buffalo is surely on the lower on the expensive side, so that was again important for me.
Okay, Let's talk about now sunny Buffalo. How was your experience when you landed in Buffalo, about the city, and then about the university?
Sure. So when I landed in Buffalo, I think I was like excited as well as scared. Because I feel when you leave India, your personality kind of splits into two. The one which you live back in India and the one which you will become in the US. So I was kind of like excited as well as scared for that opportunity in the Buffalo. But when I reached there, it has a big community of like the Indian students. So I never felt like out of space over there. I always felt like I belonged over there. So that surely was really helpful for me to get settled in. I made some great friends over there. The university is massive at Sunny Buffalo. Like it's I think it's one of the biggest campus I have been in, all the campuses in the US. Yeah, I mean I enjoyed my stay in Buffalo for sure.
Nice, nice. Some students are really worried about the weather. Um, More of them who go to Canada and also to like the cities in the US which snows a lot. Buffalo is one of them, like extreme snow. Would be really helpful for the students to understand how did you cope with it, and is it really that extreme, or like it's something which is manageable?
Sure. So yeah, it snows a lot in Buffalo. That's for sure. Like I remember when I think it started snowing around Thanksgiving when I was there. That was like the first snow I was experiencing. I was really excited. Just 2 hours into the snow, I was like, just make it stop. And it kept on snowing for next 6 months. So yeah, it snows a lot, but especially in the US, I think the homes are constructed in such a way, like with the air conditioning system and the heaters and everything, that you just don't really feel anything when you are in the house. Like in the house, we were like wearing just like normal clothes, normal home clothes. We didn't feel anything. Unless and until you go up to the window, you don't even realize if it's snowing outside. That's how good the insulation and the housing systems are in the US. So I don't think it matters a lot. Of course, snow surely decreases a lot of mobility when you are moving out, but well, Buffalo, like the sunny Buffalo, is even closed for one whole month in the month of January when it snows the most. So that's surely not an issue for the students.
Okay. And again, most important thing, RATA and on-campus opportunities. Did you get RA and TA?
No, so as I mentioned, RATA are not something at a large scale in Sunny Buffalo. Considering the number of students and the number of opportunities, the gap is pretty high. So I didn't get RATA. Another thing is, after a point, I wasn't even trying for that because my focus was to get an internship as soon as possible. And if you get a RATA, you surely have to split your time between doing the RA work, doing your studies, and doing the internship search and everything.
Okay. So this is a very useful information that RA and TA are not that common in Sunny Buffalo, if I hear you right.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's, I won't say it's not common, but the competition is pretty high for that.
As compared to, let's say, the other universities.
Absolutely. Like in UMBC or like UT Dallas, you would have a lot more probability of getting a RA or TA.
Okay. And what about on campus? Because when I was doing my master's, I didn't do on campus. Again, because I wanted to focus on my internships, and I just felt that spending 20 hours a week might lose me some time there. But a lot of my friends were working on campus, like let's say in cafeteria, in coffee shops, in libraries. So how common is that in Sunny Buffalo? And I would like to understand if you did that or not.
Yeah, I mean, like most other universities, it's pretty common in Sunny Buffalo as well. A lot of people do on campus. I personally didn't do it, and the only reason is I don't, to be honest, feel it's worth it. Like, again, I am not someone coming from a strong financial background. I had taken loan and everything, but the amount of money you earn in doing an on-campus job and the amount of efforts you put into that, I don't think it's worth it when you compare it with someone rather than that using that time to get a job or internship. And once that person starts his or her job or internship, they would probably earn a lot more than someone doing on-campus job for the whole year. So I for me, my priority was getting an internship, and that was my focus more than doing an on-campus job.
Walk us through your finances, or like let's say your expenses when you were doing your masters in SUNY Buffalo.
Sure. So for me, rent was, as I said, SUNY Buffalo is one of the cheapest housings in the whole US. So one thing, when I was shortlisting my universities as well, I was sure I don't want a university in like California or like Chicago, and that's because the housing is really high over there. I have my friends who are paying like $500 for the month, and they have to share the room with like 3 roommates or something. And for me in SUNY Buffalo, I had a much bigger room than them, and it was completely private for me, and I was paying like 400 or 450 for the whole private room. So rent is surely you would get a nice housing in SUNY Buffalo for less than $500 for the month. Other than that, the living costs I think would be around $500 at the max, including groceries and everything. So you should be good enough by spending $1,000 for the month.
Okay, so with that, let's move on to the last segment, which is the rapid fire. So let's say if you have unlimited funds, which university would you pick?
Well, if I had unlimited funds, I probably won't have chosen masters in the first place. But assuming I can choose any university, I still would have prioritized completing my masters in 1.5 years. So maybe a university which had some better reputation or some better facilities than SUNY Buffalo, but still offered that 1.5 years of masters.
If someone wants a high ROI on masters, which university would you recommend?
I would still stick with SUNY Buffalo, and the only reason is it's one of the most inexpensive universities. The living costs are pretty low. And yeah, once again, I would like to mention that you are graduating 6 months before. So just think about it. Let's say you get a job which is paying you like $200,000 for the year. 6 months, you are earning like 100K USD more than your peers. So that's surely a great ROI, I would say.
What's one biggest regret about choosing SUNY Buffalo?
I would say the winters, because again, like it's not that bad, but it surely like hampers your mobility. It's difficult for you to go out a lot, like it's snowing everywhere. So that's surely something I didn't like a lot about Buffalo as a city.
So if you could steal one feature or a factor from UTD or UMBC and bring it to SUNY Buffalo, what would it be?
Oof, that's a tough one. I'd probably say like the city life in the two of these universities, because even if they might not be located exactly in the center of the cities, I'm pretty sure the life over there is better than the life at Buffalo. But yeah, that's one thing. But again, if you steal that, then the living cost will increase as well. So, but assuming the living cost stays the same, of course, the life over there.
Fantastic. If you would pick a different university from your admits, apart from SUNY Buffalo, which one would it be?
Between UMBC and UT Dallas, I would probably choose UMBC. And that's because, first of all, UT Dallas is, of course, on the expensive side. So the tuition there is pretty expensive. And second thing is, I feel like UMBC just has some better facilities, some better groups compared to UT Dallas.
Okay. How long do you think it would take for someone, or let's say you, to recover the cost of your degree from your first job?
Again, depends on the job you get. If you get like the FANG companies, it actually shouldn't take you more than like 5-6 months.
Wow.
Should be actually even less than that. I know a lot of people who have just got signing bonus and like first 3 months salary that has recovered their expenses for them. Other than that, it's still shouldn't take you more than a year and a half.
And so the last question, what are your suggestions to the students who are looking to apply?
From my journey, I would say one thing was, so the reject I got from UNC Charlotte, right? Maybe I should have mentioned it explicitly in my SOP that even if it's like a very safe university for me, I'm still interested over there. So that's one thing people can surely do for some universities. And the second thing is, as we talked about ApplyBuddy, right? That's a great platform. Like I really urge students to like do your process on your own rather than relying on consultancies. And in that case, a platform like ApplyBuddy, it will be surely helpful. It's free of cost and it's a great starting point for everyone, I would say.
Thank you so much. I mean, this is one of the most informative podcasts I have done. I'm sure that every one of you have gained a lot of information about all the popular, like all those 3 popular universities. And if you want me to keep on creating such content with other universities, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this video. I will see you in the next podcast. Thank you so much, Yash.